How are we getting on, people? Luke here from LAGFX. We are back today with another Sunday Sessions video. If you are new to this series, this is where both me and James run through the markets and we give you our analysis on some of the pairs that we are looking at trading in the coming weeks. What we like to do is show you briefly how we trade and how we analyze the markets, and also give you specific zones and areas to look to potentially trade from as well. If you do go on to enjoy this video, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. We appreciate all the support that you guys provide us. This is helping us grow and reach out to a wider audience, an audience that needs to see our content. If you aren't involved in the Learning Lounge group chat, get yourself involved. It is completely free. I will leave the link in the description of this video. Click on the link and get yourself involved. Loads of information there that is going to help you grow and develop as a Forex trader. Now, without further ado, let's jump straight into today's Sunday Sessions. Okay, so the first market that I'm going to be looking at today is the AUD USD market. This is a market that we have actively been trading as of recently, and I'm going to continue trading this market as it is playing out perfectly to our analysis. As we can see, this market is predominantly bearish. If we just zoom out slightly, you can see how price is producing us with clear bearish structure, lower highs and lower lows. So what we want now is for price to continue this corrective wave that it is putting in fractally, provide us with a lower high, and then what we will do is look to get involved in the next impulsive wave that goes on to create its next lower low. We've got a high, we've got a lower high. This will be the next lower high. We have a low, a lower low, and then hopefully price will go on to create a new lower low. I've marked out a demand zone there that I believe price will trail to before ultimately reversing again and putting in that corrective wave again. So when we talk about impulsive waves and corrective waves, we can see how this is an impulsive wave that has trailed price down. Now we have seen price put in a corrective wave, or is putting in a corrective wave. Why? Why do we know this is a corrective wave? Because this was the last structural high that was created within this impulsive wave lower. Price has broken above that. So that tells me that price is now bullish and is trading bullish, taking part and running the course of this corrective wave. This is the zone that I have highlighted that I believe price will trail up to. Grab any remaining supply that is left in the market, flip that supply and demand balance, and basically initiate the next impulsive wave lower. So we can get involved in buys into the sell zone, or we can just be patient and wait for the selling opportunity, which I think will present itself to us later on in this trading week. Now, if we wanted to look to get involved into buy positions, so buys before the sell, what we could do is we could use this last sell to buy candle as a region for price to trail back into and for us to get involved in. So what we would want to see essentially is for price to, if I just get the path tool out again, we want to see price trail into this and reject, taking its next fractal impulsive wave higher. Okay, so we could use this as an area, a zone to get involved in. If you guys want to mark this out for yourself, this just highlight this this red candle here. This is the last sell to buy zone on the 4-hour time frame. Mark it out for yourself. Alternatively, take down these coordinates here on the right hand side, and then you'd want to set your take profit at this zone here. As you can see, the coordinates are here. Again, mark this zone out for yourself. Again, you can highlight the zone as well. It's just on the 4-hour time frame, and it's this last buy to sell region. Highlight it for yourself. Wait for price to trade in. As soon as we get a rejection, a fractal break of structure to the downside, we can then look to obviously get involved in those longer term sells. So this is what my future positions would look like. Something like this. My stop loss just above the structural high that is created. Take profit down at this swing low here. And then we can also look at getting involved in those buys before the sells. Okay. Again, stop loss below the structural low that is created, the trough that is created, take profit set at this point of interest on the higher time frames. Perfect. So there's two positions there that we can look to get involved in because we know exactly what the market is going to do. Okay, now moving over to Euro AUD. So this is a bearish market, and we have just seen price trade and put in the corrective wave. But what we have seen now is actually price put in, or start to put in, its new impulsive wave lower. We've had breaks of structure to the downside, as we can see here. This would be a break of structure. That was a protected structural low. Price has broken beneath that. That tells me that price is now ready to put in that bearish leg. So again, what we would do is we'd look for price to trail back into a zone where we can look to get a refined entry. I've highlighted this zone out. And then we can look to sell from that area. So again, highlight this zone for yourself. This is on the 15-minute time frame, this one. You can see this last buy to sell candle. Highlight it for yourself. Wait for price to trail in. Give us a fractal break of structure on maybe the 1 to 5 minute time frame. As soon as we have that and we have price trading bearish, that's when we can look to get involved in those sell positions. Now, in terms of a take profit, where would we put our take profit? Well, my take profit would be a higher time frame take profit target. So if I just go down to the 1 hour time frame, you'll see that actually I want price to trade all the way down to this point, coming at the last structural low that was created on the higher time frame. So this is on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so we want price to trade us all the way down. So if you look on the right hand side here, if I just highlight this, you can see this is the area I want price to trade us down to. I've managed to find a lovely refined entry, so this will offer us with amazing risk to reward ratios on this trade. Again, just as an example, we'd have our stop loss just above the structural high that is created. Take profit all the way down at the higher time frame swing low. As you can see, this is offering us with a 1 to 41 risk to reward ratio. So if this trade plays out, this could offer us with nearly 100% returns. Okay, now moving over to Euro USD. As you can see, again, a very bearish market. We've seen price put in that corrective wave. This is the corrective wave. We've seen a lot of volume get introduced into this zone, which I thought price would reverse from. Unfortunately, it didn't. We then got hit with more fundamentals, which continue to drive price higher. So this is the next supply zone that I've got highlighted. Mark this out for yourself. This is on the 4 hour time frame. You can see that is this last buy to sell region. There's loads of inefficiency underneath that needs clearing, and it's a last buy to sell region. So we can expect that there is plenty of supply waiting there to be activated and waiting to be put into this market. So hopefully when we get a penetration of this zone, like with the other two pairs that we've already looked at, we can then look to sell into this market and take advantage of the next impulsive wave lower. Okay, so mark out the zone for yourself, be patient and wait for price to trade us into that zone. If you wanted to look for buy positions, again, we're just looking at the impulsive wave that's taken us up. We can see that there's a last sell to buy region here. We can always look to get involved in buy positions if we have a pullback into this. These are the zones that are highlighted, so just looking at the blue figures, so this and this, get them marked out yourself and potentially look to get involved in buys before the longer term sell position. As you can see, that's exactly what we did here just last week. Okay, now finally moving over to XAU USD. This is a pair that I've been trading a lot recently, and we've had some great success with it. But if I'm being completely honest, with recent fundamentals that came out just last week, it completely shifted my bias. I was looking for sell positions. I was wanting to see price trade us lower. Continuing to follow bearish structure. We have just now seen price displace itself. So not break structure to the upside, but completely displace itself. As we can see, this structural high has been broken on the higher time frames, the extreme higher time frames. So this tells me that price is potentially now going bullish. So what I'll be looking to do is find areas within this impulsive wave for price to pull back into, giving us a refined entry, and then we can look to trade this market higher. Okay, so this could be an area to look for, so could this. There's a lot of inefficiency within this market. So my bias with XAU USD is potentially looking to buy into this market. We just need to find good areas to actually buy into this market, giving us refined entries and the capability of having a good risk to reward ratio. So stay patient, wait for pullbacks into potentially this area. So the 1745 to 1755 region. I know it's 100 pips large, but this is on the higher time frames. And again, around 1705 and 1712. These two regions here. Look for buy positions around those areas. If we get rejection to the downside and price starting trading higher after tapping these areas, then we can expect that next impulsive wave higher is going to take place, and we can take advantage of that. That's going to summarize my analysis for this weekend. Gone over 4 pairs today, so there's plenty of trading opportunities there for you all. Just highlight the zones for yourself. Be patient, wait for price to play out, giving you as much confluence and confirmation that you need in order to place these positions. Once you have that, be confident in your trade, ensure that you are using good risk management, and place the position, and hopefully you can profit alongside the LAGFX team. I hope you've enjoyed my analysis. What I'm going to do now is pass you over to James. He's going to run over some of the pairs that he is looking at trading this week and give you his rundown and bias as well, okay?
Okay, so hello everybody, and today I'm going to be starting off here on the US dollar Japanese yen market because we've obviously seen some recent bearishness which goes against the overall trend, which has come to liquidate some of the lows we've been creating in the past few months prior. So what I've done in this episode is I'm going to sort of take a step back, go to the higher time frames and see what this recent bearishness means within our overall bias. So we know that longer term, price has been in this uptrending phase for some time. This uptrending phase has come to break 3-month bearishness that we had been following for a long time prior. What that means is that longer term, we are looking to go bullish. So we can expect that now for the coming years, we are going to continue trading bullish. Of course, though, it's not just going to be a straight move up. We need to see structure coming up, down. Typical efficient structure that we see within the market. So looking as of recently now into this region, we see that the recent bearishness is pretty much just working within this 8-hour structure where we had this pullback and then the formation of this new impulsive wave. We do have 2 regions within this impulse that act as unmitigated orders, therefore demand zones, and we can expect that these are going to act as targets for price. As we see price trading back down now, we can look or expect to see price potentially tapping into one of these, seeing that mitigation of the order, introducing enough demand to then reverse the market, getting ready for that next impulse higher. So in the last week, I was looking within this to see if there were potential for any sell opportunities to trade price down into these demand zones. So we were identifying 2-hour structure. You see we had a good few taps into some different zones. There's a few zones, as we see on the screen here, that have been left unmitigated longer term, which we are looking at for potential sales, but that is whether or not price mitigates one of these zones before making the move up, because if it does, we'll no longer be looking at sales from these zones because we're expecting the creation of the new impulse. But if we see the pullback now, for example, before we've tapped into these zones, we could very well be looking inside of these as valid supply zones to take trades from. If you then go lower, I was identifying 5-minute structure. We were looking inside of this, hoping to see a mitigation of one of these regions. We see we did have a reaction from one, and the early confirmation, let's say, of a reversal from that region. But ultimately, we see that price has then come up to break that 5-minute protected high, or at least liquidate that, before reversing, breaking structure, making that move lower. So we can see now within this region, we have again left over some unmitigated orders as price has continued lower. So let's go to a low enough time frame, or at first let's just identify the unrefined regions within this. So we see that price does leave that, we wick in. Okay, so I would argue, looking at the unrefined regions, I would say that both of these here represent supply zones. We can change those to red to represent supply. Now let's go down to the 3-minute, just to look inside of here further, and we can say, right, we do actually like the identification of this buy to sell. And then as we look inside of here, I also like the identification of this buy to sell there. So those are definitely 2 regions I will keep drawn on the chart, potentially even this one up here also. So we have 3 supply zones that we can watch for a potential mitigation of following this new 5-minute structure, given that price wants to make that correctional wave, which it should do eventually, and if so, as stated, we're going to watch for it to come into one of these, see the tap, see the mitigation of that order, introduce enough supply to make that move lower, hoping to hold that target all the way down to these demand zones. So now over to Euro USD. Now going back to the bias I had for a very, very long time, which was for price to trade as bullish into this 1-day supply zone, which we see obviously we've had clear reactions from demand zones to take price towards that region, but we have recently seen the invalidation of that zone as prices push through. So the clearance of that high is going to now suggest the formation of a correctional wave within this structure. So what we need to do is we need to look inside of here for any supply zones that price may want to slowly retrace and deliver that correctional wave back up to before reversing and creating a new impulse lower. So I will be doing that in my own time. I'm going to be looking back through to find any regions that remain unmitigated, but just off the top of my head, you see I'm identifying a few regions here that do act as buy to sell regions where we've not seen any price come back into it. So there's going to be a fair few within this entire 1 month impulse, because we see that it was quite a high volume bearish move where the correctional waves were not too deep, therefore it wasn't the most efficient structure, which means there's going to be a fair few supply zones left over, which we can identify. You see I've identified a few already. We would have alerts set at all of these, and as price approaches that, we'd then be looking for the reversal and creation of that new impulsive wave down, which I'm hoping longer term does trade us into this demand zone where we'll see a long-term accumulation to follow 3-month structure under the bias that the reversal here will continue 3-month bullishness. And once we see that accumulation and reversal from this 3-month zone, we will then see an uptrend which should last for a very, very long time. So I don't believe there's any other markets that are looking too great as of recent. Obviously, a quick browse into pound dollar, where we see that price has now, similar to Euro USD, invalidated 4-hour structure. So supply is no longer in control. We are heading towards this 1-day point of interest where we have an alert, where we may potentially see price break through. If not, we're then breaking the 1-day protected high. And again, similar to Euro USD, we're then working within higher time frame structure where we're then seeing pullbacks into these 1-week zones. So as of right now though, I'm definitely going to be looking within this zone here at around 1.198 for the mitigation and potential reversal from. So do keep your eyes peeled on that. We see that in recent days we did have that high volume move, which isn't too ideal because we've left regions in the market of heavy inefficiency. We had a reaction to a demand zone there. It's going to be hard because there's no clear zone within this region. Could I argue that there's potentially a demand zone inside of that where we could set an alert and hope to see price come down, fill in this imbalance, these inefficiencies, see the tap and mitigation of this zone, and then that move higher into this supply where we'll either see the reversal or continuation higher to then follow 1-week structure. Could even go to the more fractal timeframes right now. Looking inside of here, is there anywhere that remains unmitigated? It doesn't appear that there's anything too obvious. Potentially a sell to buy in that region, whilst also a sell to buy there. So if price is going to follow 5-minute structure or lower time frame structure, looking at this as 5-minute impulse and those two demand zones as potential regions where structure could reverse into after a correctional wave, the mitigation would then hopefully cause the move higher. So potentially looking to take buys from one of those two zones. The zone down here trading up towards this supply zone with the hope that if price either reverses from here to hit this target or we blow through and continue delivering a correctional wave into 1-week structure. So hopefully that all makes sense. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this week's Sunday sessions. If so, make sure to leave us some feedback. Check out all of our socials, check out the website, all of that good stuff. But thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week in the next Sunday sessions video.